Welcome into the Stack in the Box podcast. I'm Matt Verderame, and we are joined by a very special guest today, Emmitt Smith, Hall of Fame running back, holder of about 1 million NFL records. And he is joining us courtesy of Bounty. And Emmitt, look, I want to get into a lot of things with you. The first thing I have to ask you, Monday night, Tampa and Dallas, your Cowboys going to face Tom Brady. How do you feel about that game? The Cowboys are favorites, but coming off of a very ugly performance against Washington.
Well, I'm a little nervous about it because of what I saw in Washington. I was expecting us to play a lot better. So the question begs, which Cowboy team will we see? The one against the Minnesota Vikings, or will we see the one against the Commanders last week? It is my hope and my prayer that we see the one against the Minnesota Vikings, because that's a team that I know has the potential to go deep into the playoff. And that's the team that I want to see come Monday night and to break this 7-game winning streak that Tom Brady has over us and the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't know what we will see because the jury's still out. I know that we definitely have the talent. I'm not going to question our talent, even though we've sustained a number of different types of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, with the loss of Brown and the loss of Jordan Lewis and some other players. Van Der Esch hopefully will be back, and that can help with our running game as well in terms of run defense. But offensively, we got to play better. Bottom line, we have to play better, and we have to eliminate the turnovers, and we have to be able to run the football effectively.
You mentioned the turnovers. Yeah, Daxon's coming back. He's had some good games, but he's also turned the ball over a ton. He leads the league in interceptions. What are you seeing? I mean, from your perspective, what is the problem? Why have there been so many interceptions for a guy who's not been overly turnover prone throughout his career?
Well, it could be a number of different things. It could be Dak Prescott pressing when unnecessary to press. It could be that the defense has done a very good job of studying our formations and route combinations and knowing how to confuse Dak in that regard, because they do get paid on the other side to study, just like we get paid on our side to study what they're trying to do. So whatever it is, we need to figure out how to eliminate it and eliminate it quickly. And one of the ways I believe that you can eliminate turn the ball over is to run the ball effectively and not put so much pressure on the passing game, and allow your run game to set up the passing game. And if you want to allow your passing game to set up the run game, do such, but do it in an effective way to where you're trying to run 70 to 75 quality plays versus 95 and having 85 quality plays and another 10 so-called gimmicky plays. Every play is important. When you call them is extremely important. How you execute them is more important than anything else on the table. But you definitely got to protect the football first.
You know, when you played, obviously you guys won 3 Super Bowls, and listen, there were playoff losses sprinkled in here and there. 94 San Francisco, 91 in Detroit, but you look at this weekend outside of the Cowboys, and there are a few games that everybody expects certain teams to win, right? The Bills are supposed to beat the Dolphins. The Bengals are supposed to beat the Ravens. But these upsets happen. Every once in a while, you'll get a game that crops up that nobody thinks is possible. And I'm curious, for you guys winning 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, what was the secret for you guys to not have a game like that throughout? Even when you lost to really quality teams. You know, like what was for you the thing that you guys were able to avoid those pitfalls throughout those years and make sure that you were able to handle business each and every week come January?
Well, I think I attribute our ability to stay on track because our coach made it a point for us to stay focused and stay on track. He knew throughout the week, and this is a different time too, because we were in pads. We could be in pads on Wednesday, full gear on Wednesday, and maybe be in shoulder pads on Thursday, and then take the shoulder pads off on Friday. We earned the right, and when we earned the right to have the shoulder pads taken off, if our performance slipped that week or we had a lot of mistakes, we went back to the fundamentals. Unfortunately, in today's society, in today's game, It's hard for these players to do that because of the rules and the regulations that the NFL has placed upon the teams. So therefore, they don't get pressured tests or battle tested like we used to. And so our practices was very, very competitive. I mean, we practiced so hard as if we were playing in a game on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday was the only time we started to relax a little bit. But we had to be on our P's and Q's in terms of being sharp, mentally sharp. Because if you made the same mistakes in practice, you're going to turn around and make the same mistakes in the game. So to have officials there on a Wednesday or Thursday or Friday watching the game, calling things that they see, that was normal for us. And so it's important for those things to take place. And that's the difference between players today versus players of my era. And one other thing, we knew our job was at stake. We didn't have enough of the guarantee. Everybody did not have enough of the guaranteed money to where they can go out and do what the hell they wanted to do. You had to fight and maintain your position in order to earn the right to be compensated in the end.
Yeah, your former teammate, friend, Troy Aikman, who of course calls games now for ESPN, will be calling that game on Monday night. He recently did an interview where he talked about the fact that he felt like sometimes he turns on football games and turns on NFL games and feels like he has to ask himself, is this professional football? Because the quality of it in his eyes is poor. And he mentioned the fact that he feels like maybe these teams aren't getting enough time in away from the actual games themselves. When you watch the games, do you feel like the quality of the game has slipped from when you played back in the 90s?
No doubt. No doubt. Because here's the things. When you see a defensive player coming in to hit a quarterback, and as much as they call it unnecessary roughness right now, and he pulls up and bang into him and then just boss off to him thinking that he done knocked him down, he's not playing the game. He's not playing the game. Because you're supposed to come in and tackle a guy and bring him to the ground. If he doesn't bring the guys to the ground, then the guy bounce off, stays on his feet, and the play keeps going. I've seen that happen in the Buffalo game. I've seen that happen in other games where quarterbacks fake like they're throwing the ball and they get hit, and the defensive player turns around and look and see what has happened, and the quarterback still has the ball running around, and then he throws for a touchdown, which is unfair to the defensive player. I've seen guys get hit and pushed down to the ground, and I've seen unnecessary roughness calls. I've seen guys go into a player to try and hit him, but so afraid to get called for unnecessary roughness that he just bumps into the player bounces off and keep on running for 24 or 25 more yards. The game has changed completely. Quarterbacks are protected like babies, but yet they get paid the most, which is unnecessary because they're not as physical as they used to be. Troy Aikman got the living crap beat out of him in my rookie year. He got sacked by the Philadelphia Eagles 11 times in one daggone game. One game. Concussions protocol. Shit didn't even exist back in the day. So I hear him and I agree with him. The game has softened up tremendously, especially even in the Pro Bowl. I mean,
got rid of the Pro Bowl.
Especially even in the Pro Bowl. So I understand the principles around player safety. I understand that and I agree with that. But now it's starting to affect the game and how players play the game.
Couple more real quick, and we want to get to what you're doing with Bounty here at the before we let you go. But I wanted to ask you a last question I have before that. You accomplished so much in your career. I mean, 3-time Super Bowl champ. You were the all-time leading rusher in NFL history. You are an All-Pro, a Pro Bowler, an MVP. I mean, you name it, it's there. Is there anything that you didn't accomplish in your career that you wish you did? Is there anything you ever look back and you're like, man, that's the one thing I didn't do. That's the one thing. Is there anything, or did you check off every single box yet?
No, I did not check off every single box yet. The one thing that I wanted to do that I'm glad I did not do was rush for over 2,000 yards in one season.
Why are you glad you didn't do it?
After 2,000 yards, it's all downhill from that point on.
Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. Game close a few times. All right, listen. That's great. Let everybody know you're working with Bounty here as we gear up for the Super Bowl. What are you doing with them and why are you doing it?
Well, as you stated, this weekend is a big weekend for football and sports itself. And so during the football games this weekend, people are going to have nachos, people are going to have wings, and they're going to have sauces all over the place. And therefore, this is going to be a mess. You cannot play the game of football without having wings in it. And you cannot have wings without having Bounty around to clean up all the mess that will take place. So Bounty and I and Grunt, we all are having this push. Eat your wings, but use Bounty.
Hey, fair enough. The last thing you want is to get wing sauce all over yourself. Well,
if you're gonna get it over yourself,
quick.
If you're gonna get it over yourself, at least have something to clean it up after you get it over yourself. Now you're gonna have to go wash your clothes, but if you lay it on the countertops and everything else, which is liable to happen, Bounty, the quicker pick it up, baby.
All right, Emmitt Smith, Bounty, a Hall of Fame combination. Hey, Emmitt, thanks so much for joining the Stag in the Box podcast and enjoy the games this weekend.
Thank you.